Comfy? Ready? You ready there?
Yeah.
Morning? No, I won't say morning. Oh, we can say morning.
Soon we can say, podcast editor, can you just remove that section?
Yeah. Oh. Hello, and welcome to Let's Run Social. We don't say episodes now because we keep forgetting what episode we're on, so that just messes things up. So, welcome. Nick Boddington here, Matt Rubas, and today on this very special podcast, on a very special day, because it's the day before lockdown, so we're making the most of sitting here, we're going to talk about the Pixel. And people are probably thinking, well, what's the Pixel? The Pixel is a piece of code, like a Google Analytics code, that Facebook gives you when you set up a business manager to advertise on Facebook. And there is a huge difference between not getting a Pixel and getting it, because what you can do on Facebook in regards to pushing your business forward, making money, etc., is huge. If you don't have a Pixel, you're out of the game and you are advertising completely blind. Would you not agree?
100% in agreement.
There are agencies out there that we've taken clients from, and when we've said, oh, where's your Pixel? And they go, oh, what's the Pixel?
What is it?
And they've even had an agency advertise for them. So the reason we say that is because, do you want to start with the Facebook brain? Do you want to go into like the algorithm?
I feel like you go into that because
you butt in when you're ready.
I'll just butt in, yeah.
Okay, so you set up a business manager with Facebook, and you pull in your Facebook page, you set up an ads manager, which is where you run your ads from, and then you have your Pixel. Oh, and then you've got your Instagram, which you can put in as well. But then you've got your Pixel, which is under sources. Now, this Pixel, if you have a Shopify website, it is very simply in your settings, preferences, and under Google Analytics code, you take the Facebook Pixel, which can be a 10 to 12 digit code, which you can just slot in there. But on most occasions, when you go to set up your Pixel, it will give you a bit of actual code, which you basically copy and paste from Facebook, and you put it into the header of your website. If you don't know how to do that, that's absolutely fine. Not many people do. I wouldn't actually know how to go into a website and put the code on. You do, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. If you've got a web developer, then they can
send
do
it
it.
To them.
Send it to them. If you don't, then a quick Google search, you'll be able to find it. But essentially, it is a copy and paste job. Really straightforward.
Once you've got that pasted onto your website, Facebook then follows everyone that comes onto your website. Now, I used to say until last night, there's about 400,000 bits of data signals. I used to say sort of data DNA, but it's data signals that Facebook Pixel picks up on. Now, an idea of data signals would be someone has added to cart, someone's purchased. Those are sort of very blatant ones that you would all know about. But what comes into the billions? We're talking about how long it takes someone to scroll past something on Facebook. When they watch a video, do they pause it? Do they unpause it? How long do they watch the video for?
Sound on, sound off.
Do they press more text? Do they read the subtitle? So we're buying a new mattress at the moment at home, and my Instagram is full of bed companies, mattress companies, sheet companies. That's all come from conversation. It's been my wife that's Googled all that. I haven't had anything to do with it. I've had nothing to do with it. But the conversations that we've had have now made Simbler, Rhino, all these brands that are coming up with mattresses. I didn't even realise that you basically get it in like a flat pack and then it expands.
And then you let it kind of inflate.
That's what the Pixel does.
Yeah.
That Pixel is picking up on a billion different signals that the minute you pick up your phone or open your desktop or laptop or whatever, it reads everything that's going on. When you hit a website that has a Pixel installed, it enables that Facebook to get more and more intelligent. But the way we like to explain it to a client is that if they don't have that on that website, they're not able to then really advertise to people because they've not been able to capture any of those signals. when a user's come to it.
Yeah, exactly. Because that person that lands on the website will trigger the pixel, and there's various events that we'll go into, and then that will feed back into Ads Manager, won't it? So you've then got more data feeding into Ads Manager in real time, so Facebook is learning the whole time, and then it can optimize and change who it's serving the ad to depending on that data.
Yeah, so you can still, like last week on the podcast we discussed the campaign objectives. The only campaign objectives that you can't run without a pixel are conversions, because it'll ask you for what the pixel is, and catalog. App install as well, but it's a different type of. It's another SDK. It's another bit of code.
Yeah, different.
But brand awareness, reach, traffic, video views, all that can be run without a pixel. So yes, there are exceptions that if you are just doing a brand awareness or reach, or you want people to watch a video, yes, you can run your campaigns without a pixel. But we call it, you're just running ads blind. Because Facebook is going, yeah, thank you very much, I'll run that. Where do you want me to send the traffic? I'll send them to my homepage or a video. Yeah, I'll do that for you. But it's not tracking anything. You can't create audience off it. You can't do any retargeting. The things that we would class as the holy grail of making Facebook advertising work for you can't be done unless you've got that. And the only difference of is that you didn't literally go to pixel, add pixel, get the code, it's that simple, and give it to your web dev guy to put on your header, which takes 3 seconds.
Yeah.
That's how easy it is, and it's a massive difference. So let's say, from your point of view then, Matt, from a lead gen point of view, what would you say the most important parts, things that you would, if you didn't have a pixel, what couldn't you do that everyday life means?
Yeah, so lead gen funnels, there's different types. So the basic lead gen funnel will be an ad that goes to a landing page which has an opt-in in. So it could be an opt-in for a webinar, which is what we're currently running, a download, whatever. You're essentially a landing page that you're asking for a name and an email in exchange of a free thing that's of value to that person. They're opting in for a reason. When that person opts in, you then want that to trigger what is called the lead event. So that will tell Facebook and me as an ads manager that somebody has clicked on the ad, they've gone onto the landing page, they've opted in, and that has created a lead. And then I've got that piece of information that I can go on to send an email to from the back end perspective, but also that data, that lead trigger on the thank you page is going to feed back into my ads manager, so I can optimize that ad for more people that have just taken that particular piece of action.
Okay, yeah. Do you want to explain to them what the lead event is? Because that's like your second part of the pixel setup, isn't it?
Yeah. So you've got lots of different events when it comes to the pixel. So you have your base pixel, which essentially is just going to record all the different page views that you get. So that goes across your whole website. So you'll be able to see who's landing on what page and that kind of thing. But you can then take that a step forward. So when I say the lead event, that's another piece of code that will go onto the thank you page. So it's the event that's triggered when that person takes the desired action. So if somebody lands on my thank you page, that to me is a lead. The other options you've got is submit application or contact. So it might be that then on the thank you page, I give that lead an option to book a call with me. Yeah. So I could then put a second event on the confirmation call page that would trigger that.
So just to interrupt, because even clients that we know who half know what they're talking about get this wrong. The event that you want to trigger to say, hey, this person wants a call or this person opted in, is on the thank you page. So a lot of people make the mistake of putting the lead on the actual landing page where you want them to go, but that means you're going to have loads of leads because it means every single person who hits that landing page, you need the lead event to go on the thank you page to mean that once someone's gone through the form, then it triggers to say this person actually submitted the form.
Exactly. Yes, correct.
Yeah.
You've hit the nail on the head. Now, the old-fashioned way of doing this would be like I said, a separate piece of code that would trigger that event.
which you kindly write for me all the time.
Yeah.
I don't write the code.
And if you Google it, you can go on to Facebook's website and they will show you all of the different events that you can use. However, what they've done now is they've made it really difficult to manually do it. They don't want people really doing that anymore. When you try and find how to actually paste the code in, it's really difficult, and that's because they're really trying to push the event setup tool.
Yeah, which is actually pretty good. It's good from a lead gen point of view when you're dealing with landing pages and stuff. Horrendous and scary from an ecom point of view.
Yeah.
Because you're into another world then. So I would definitely, with that part, is stick to old fashioned on ecom. Usually with ecom, the pixel usually picks up everything anyway. The add to carts and checkouts.
Yeah.
Purchase anyway.
If you're using, like you've mentioned already, like Shopify, then that's literally just to copy and paste the pixel code in, and then it does all the work, doesn't it? And it's the same with WooCommerce. There's like plugins in WordPress that does all of that for you as well. But yeah, when you're looking at these individual codes that I've mentioned, you are mainly talking from a kind of like lead gen perspective, or if you were using ClickFunnels to sell just like one product, you could trigger the like purchase pixel on the, like we're doing with the course.
Yeah, and they always have, and it's really simple because they actually have loads of tutorial videos on YouTube on how to put those pixels in.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about the Facebook's own one, which I think is really cool, is that when you go onto the back end of Facebook and you're in your pixel area, which people listening will probably think what you're talking about, but once they go in there, they'll understand. When you're in that area, there's a little drop down, which then drops down to add pixel from or add code from to the website. When you click that, it asks you to put in the page of the website that you want the code to go on. Then Facebook automatically opens that for you and puts across all the different event tagging over the top of your website page.
Yeah.
So you can then literally, and it's really self-explanatory, go, thank you, now that when someone is on this page, what do you want them to do? And you can literally drop down and say, well, I want them to, when they click on that button, which is highlighted, Facebook highlight the button.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Make a trigger a lead when that button's been pressed.
Yeah.
So it's really clever.
Yeah.
There are some instances where it doesn't work. I've had a couple of pages where it's like highlighted the address and stuff at the bottom of the company on the bottom of the webpage and hasn't highlighted the button. Then you're stuck. Because unfortunately Facebook's so big that getting someone on the phone to help you fix a problem is
difficult.
Difficult. So,
sometimes in their live chat. But yeah, I think they're just trying to get more people to use this, because I think that what can happen is that when you are exchanging these codes, it can get a bit messy and you can get into problems. So I think it's their way of streamlining that. So us as like ads managers or agency owners, we can just get that pixel, the base code installed, and then we can kind of just crack on and get the events on there how we want to. And like you've just said, you can do that on a button, or you follow the process. You put the landing page URL in, complete the form, it will take you to the thank you page, and then you can select the lead event from the drop down in the event helper tool.
Yeah. So there's also something else that I've just thought of that you need to have, and you have to be using Chrome. And in Chrome, you want to Google Facebook Pixel Helper. Now that's a Chrome extension that once you've Googled that, it'll say, do you want to install the code? At the top of your toolbar, you'll get a little, it doesn't show a Facebook icon, but it's a little Pixel Helper icon, which every single website on this planet that has a Facebook Pixel installed, when you go onto it and you click on that little extension code, it will show the Pixel ID and what's firing. So for anyone who's setting up your pixel, step one, do that. Because it means you can go on your own website, and like from an e-commerce point of view, if we're checking out anything on an e-commerce site when we start with them and as we're running things and blah, 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 we'll go through the actual order process from landing on a product page to where the ad is. So I'll want to create that whole funnel. So if I'm selling a pair of black jeans, I've got the ad saying, hey, buy our black jeans. And then I've got a product page URL in the ad. So when someone clicks on the ad, it goes through to that product page. Then I open the Pixel Helper to say, great, has it shown a little green tick to say page view? Yes, it has. If I buy the product, once I've pressed that add to cart button and I go to the next page, then I click on that Pixel Helper again and it should say page view plus added to cart little green button. And when you actually click on that to know it's properly installed, because now you've got into monetary values of products, when you click on the add to cart, it should come up with a little drop down with some information that normal people don't understand, but then it should say the product name and the cost of the product. If that bit's missing, it means that your catalog that you've pulled in from Shopify or whatever, because you have to create, on an e-com, you have to create a product catalog in Facebook as well. Facebook make this really, really easy. We're not going to go delve into it because it's a different thing altogether, really, but every website has a plugin that you can do, a Facebook plugin, which will allow you very simply to create a catalog in Facebook that talk to your website, can communicate through API to say, any changes you make on your website, pull it into Facebook. And then you can go through this pixel helper and see add to cart, and then go, right, now I want to go to my checkout page. Your pixel helper should then have another green dot which says, now we're on, and making sure all those things are working. That's probably the biggest headache of a pixel. And I would say 80% of the time you're going to have to go through that process, whether it's lead gen or whether it's e-com, to make sure that all those different settings are working. Because if you get a little yellow exclamation mark when you're on your page in that pixel helper, it means that your website hasn't communicated correctly back to Facebook.
Yeah,
you scratch your head for a minute and then you Google it and go, oh God, why is this happening?
Why is it happening? And then, I think one of the main issues that you can get is like counting double.
Yeah,
I've had that before, where it's just reading everything twice, and that has such a huge impact, because you're basing everything that you do, or we do anyway. That's the whole point of this, on data, not emotion. So when that's not correct, it makes it more challenging. So yeah, my advice would be that when you start out from scratch building a website or putting pixels on, is look really, really closely from when you launch that campaign and make sure everything tallies up.
Yeah.
So, like if it's, you can see in Ads Manager, okay, you've got an initiate checkout or a purchase event, go into Shopify and actually look at the data and cross-reference it.
Yeah. Now, people listening might be thinking, oh God, this sounds really confusing. But it's not actually. Once you've done all these steps you've set up your pixel, you've had a look round, which is not a lot to look round the pixel page on Facebook.
Not really, no.
Once you've done all these things, you'll then listen back to this podcast and go, oh yeah, I get all of that.
Yeah.
When a problem occurs, we are always scratching our heads as well. Unless it's a problem we see all the time, we go, yeah, I know how to fix that. But a lot of the time we are going, like, we've always got emails between us going, oh, what, have you seen this before? Or have you done that?
Yeah.
So yeah, don't be overwhelmed, because it's actually quite simple. It's just because we're talking maybe slightly techie that you think it's going to be a big techie thing. It's not. Normal people can do this. We're normal. I'm completely normal. I wouldn't say I'm a techie at all.
It's debatable sometimes.
Well, I wouldn't say. I've even said this morning I didn't have to do something on my iPhone. You're like, how do you not know?
How do you not know that menu? Is the one where you pull it down and you can change the brightness and the volume and get to your camera and stuff. But
didn't even know how to get there.
Or screen recording.
Well, now pull down top right.
Top right.
Like I'm going to open an instruction manual when I get a new iPhone.
They try and do this thing now, though, don't they? When you get a new iPhone, I've had it because I've just got the new one, and then it comes up with like a little app like to help you with hints and tips and stuff.
Can't be asked.
Can't be asked for that, can you?
No.
Like, as long as I got my and as long as it's usable as a phone,
I've been shouting at Alexa lately. I've been shouting at Google Mini Home Nest lately. Jesus Christ. Anyway, so that's, don't be overwhelmed to it. There's loads there. There's probably not a lot we can go on really, because then it is becoming technical and techie about the pixel. And
can we just quickly talk about custom audiences? So not to go into depth on it, but just to say the other key benefit of having a pixel installed is something called custom audiences, which means that you can take the data that's being recorded on the pixel and create custom audiences. So that could be, you can target people that view certain pages of the website, people that have got to initiate checkout, people that have purchased before. You can show them dynamic ads, so things that they've already looked at the website. So, and from there as well, you can create lookalike audiences, which are people that Facebook thinks are like the custom audiences that you've built. So I think
video views.
And video views.
So it's not just showing your video. You can then build an audience based on people who watch your video for 25%, 40%, 50%, 75%, which is really, really good. Lookalikes, actually, going off that is that we've been having conversations this week because we're always looking at, like, there's an Ads World, the Ad World conference on at the moment, which is online, which is really cool actually. It's online because you can just watch and catch up on people on stage, even though they're not on stage, they're in the lounge yawning. There was a guy yesterday, I was thinking, what time is it for him?
Dog barking in the background.
This guy had like built and sold Bebo, which was his first social network, and numerous companies worth hundreds of millions, and he's just in a room in his house, obviously, and it with the time zones, it was probably like 2:00 in the morning, and it's just like going through it, like trying not to yawn, but just like, it must be so tiring. But so we're always learning about that, and only this morning Matt and I have just watched something about Facebook with someone on stage. We're doing a lot of the stuff they're doing, but then something was on audiences, and we've had these discussions lately on how that audience work. Would you do that? Because I'm very much talking about broad audiences. Which is, so we're talking about, like, when we're talking about custom audiences, which Matt, we're not actually digressing from the subject. We're just slightly going into audiences which is a lookalike. So a lookalike, as Matt was saying, is people have been to your website, and let's say you get to a volume of about, you need about 500 really, don't you? And it's not actually the more the merrier, because people do think it's the more the merrier. It doesn't, even if you had 50,000, it doesn't actually get that much better. You can get really, really intelligent on 300, 500 people.
Yeah.
They build an audience, and then you can build a lookalike. Really simply again, and we'll have to just do maybe some videos and put them online for how to do this. But I've noticed lately that most people will use, you can split a lookalike into a percentage of 1% up to 10%. And each percentage has about 420,000 people in it. So Facebook will go, right, based on the 300 people that have been onto your landing page, I'm going to go on a 1% and find another 420,000. 2%, 800,000, and so on. I've lately been building ads for clients using a 1 to 5% lookalike. So 1, 2, 3, 4, so 5 different audiences of different percentages. 3 and 5 work better than all the others. Why? Don't know. But you're leaving it to Facebook to do that. So having a pixel opens up a huge book of opportunities, not just going, I want to retarget someone on my e-commerce website that's looked at product and then show them an ad saying, hey, we saw you looked at this, buy it. That's massive.
Yeah.
And only yesterday I did a video actually on my Instagram, and I need to do a video on it for YouTube, on a client who's doing just that. They're spending, did you see it? They're spending 40 minutes, 20 to 40 minutes a day posting on social stories, so Instagram stories and TikTok. That's generated traffic back to their website. And for 300 quid a month only, she's just got an ad which says, hey, we saw you looking at this baby carrier, but you forgot to buy it.
Yeah.
15 and a half times her return on investment from that strategy.
Yeah.
If she didn't have a pixel, she wouldn't get that. That was $5,000 and she did a 300 quid in a month. If she didn't have a pixel, she wouldn't have it. And from e-com, you can win from the start by having a pixel and doing a retargeting ad.
You can.
So that's a little hook. We'll class that as a little hook to get someone excited who's listening to this, going, "Oh, pixel stuff boring," and then I can make $5,000 or 300 quid.
Yeah, you are leaving thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of pounds on the table if you don't utilise the Facebook pixel. So that's why we wanted to bring you that podcast today.
Yeah. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your time, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that one. That was pretty good. Sounded a bit techie, but it's not. Maybe go away, start looking at your pixel and your Facebook ads, start looking around it, and then listen to this podcast again. It won't be techie.
Yeah, I just think it's triggering that kind of thought process, and there's so much out there on how to use this stuff. But
I would say the subjects we talk about on this is, if you are listening to them, listen to them again like a month later or 2 months later or 3 months later.
Yeah.
Which is why we educate ourselves by watching videos of other people. A lot of the time we know the stuff. But all it takes is that one little gem to go, we'll try that with some ad accounts today. And it wins. So we'll leave you with that. Thanks for listening, and we will see you on the next one.
See ya.
Bye. Right, little look to camera for the